nature aware. Today I'm in the middle of writing for a presentation that I'll be giving next month. And in that presentation, I'll be talking about the long-tailed macaques that I study in Jakarta. And it's mostly scientific, so I can't really get into, when I give that talk, I won't be getting into a lot of the emotional part of it, but there's emotions that go with it. And one thing I was thinking about today is we are in a changing world, and no matter what beliefs you have or what challenges you face, we are all collectively in a changing world, and it's changing one way or another for whatever reason that the world is changing for you. and and with that, though, goes a bit of despair because I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people talk about uh, these huge items like animal conservation, biodiversity loss, climate change, war, famine, poverty. I mean, these are horrible things and destructive and frightening, and they affect millions upon millions of people right now. And eventually, part of that or some facet of that is going to affect every person on the planet. So we're talking about 8 billion separate experiences. And it becomes overwhelming. It becomes very overwhelming to hear the news every day. It becomes very overwhelming to hear dire predictions. There's a lot of bad stuff that's floating around in the world out there. And we're kind of faced with it because of technology. We're faced with it every day in multiple ways, and it gets to be a lot. And when I write about the long-tailed macaques, and I write about the conservation of monkeys and other primates, I feel that in earnest. I feel that overwhelming sense of dread. And one of the things that's come up time and time again is in animal conservation, especially, is the big picture. And people always talk about the big picture. They talk about it's not about one animal, it's about the entire species. It's about saving all of the orcas, it's about saving all of the sea otters, all of the long-tailed macaques, all of the orangutan. It's really drilled in the idea that animal conservation has to be about the big picture. But then on a human level, it's not. On a human level, it comes down to individual moments. I was thinking very recently about the one time that I've seen the results of any hylorm. and when I do my research, my observational research, I'm actually sitting with the long-tailed macaques. And I was thinking about the one time that I was sitting among the monkeys, and I was watching a mother after she had just lost her infant. And after the infant monkey had been killed by the one infanticide that I've ever witnessed, the mother was distraught and visibly so, and removed from the social setting of the troop. She was sitting by herself, not grooming with anybody, not foraging, just kind of sitting. And for an hour, I'm watching this female macaque who just lost her baby. And for her, in her world, in her lifetime, that may be the most traumatic thing that ever happens to her. And I realized that as an observer watching her, I become a part of that, like it or not, or trying to be a fly on the wall or not. I am, and I exist in their world, and I become a part of their life story. So even though conservation in general is about the big picture, it's about saving the species. Conservation as an observer, as an individual, is about individuals. And you share that grief, and you share that fear, and you share that desperation when the dry season goes on too long and you start to see the long-tailed macaques are really searching through trash cans and high angun. And there's so many different negative things that they go through that it has to impact you. And I think at least a little bit, it's important to allow yourself to feel that, because if you don't feel the impacts of the individual, and you only focus on the big picture, first of all, it's a lot more overwhelming. And on a personal level, it feels too large for you to do anything about. You feel like you're not making a difference. But when you start to focus on the individual, you look at the one person, the one species, or the one animal, the one whatever, that you can actually do something to help. You make a positive difference in the world, and that's kind of what keeps hope going. And positive changes can be little things. They can be absolutely little things. When I walk into the park to do my observations and I look around before I get to the monkeys and I see trash on the ground, I pick up the trash. It's not a big thing. It's just second nature. Pick up the trash, put it in the correct trash can. If I see something broken like glass or whatever, I'll take the time and clean it up, not just for the monkeys, but because there are children that come to the park too. So it's a little thing, and I do that. I do that when I go on my observations, but I do it around my home. This is my home here in East Jakarta. Behind me, you see the upstairs down there, and out here is the living room and what have you. I do it for my neighbors. I do it for my children, and I make the little differences because those little differences collectively add up. And hope comes from all of us sharing that. So rather than getting flooded by the images of the bad things that are happening in the world, the big things we can't change, we take a look around us and we see the smaller things that we can change. And we might not change the world for a person, but we can change that moment. We can change that minute into something more positive. We can change that memory for that one animal, that's going through the struggle of their lifetime. And we can make that better. And in their life experience, in their story, that might make all the difference in the world for them. And I encourage you to go out there and be a little more attentive to the idea of making small changes. It's so easy to get caught up in the big picture, but you got to let go of the big picture sometimes. So today I'm working more on my presentation for next month for the Asian Primates Symposium, where I'll be talking about data and I'll be talking about the science and all of that. But I'm taking a deep breath right now this morning and I'm thinking, what have I done for the individuals? I encourage you to do the same. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.